Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Noel Zone. I hope you're doing very well. Told you I'd be back. So I hope you are all. Yeah, I've just finished my dinner, so I said, we'll stream for about 20 minutes, half an hour maybe, because I'm over on the other channel doing the Champions League live draw. But just wanted to come on and see how everybody is doing. Um, just checking Twitter, see what's going on. But yeah, so just got up this morning, and as you do, get a cup of coffee into me, and then had a bit of a browse on Twitter. So I've just seen this ad. I think it's from the educational board here in Ireland. And it's an ad basically, with little kids in a school classroom, and they're talking about all of this gender nonsense that kids are born in the wrong body. I might feel like they were born in the wrong body. Listen, no kid out there, no kid feels like they're born in the wrong body. And what's happening here is a shambles, right? Okay, I said it, and I've been saying it, and no, not many people say it. But what's happening to our children is a crime against humanity, right? That's what it is. It's absolutely awful what they're doing to kids, and they're getting away with it in broad daylight. And something needs to be done quite quickly, to be quite honest with you, because the longer this continues, we'll see what happens. We've seen what happens in other countries, and this is why it's great to see Irish people out there in their communities defending their communities right now. Because we've just seen in Greece now. Greece has actually fallen, and the people have had enough now because, let's just say a young Greek girl, she was harmed by these so-called, migrants, but they're illegal, right? And they finally copped on, but it took something awful to happen before the Greek people woke up, and before Europe. And this is what happens. Need to wake up, but it's great to see that Irish people are waking up. And what's annoying me is the international coverage that Ireland's getting, because a lot of these people that do the American journalists that people listen to, they haven't got a clue what they're talking about when they talk about our country. They're saying Ireland has fallen and all of this nonsense. Ireland hasn't fallen. There's people out in their communities protesting. They're doing what the Americans and what other countries didn't do for ages. He's let this fester and grow. In Ireland, they've tried to put a stop to it straight away, and they've had successes. So no, our country has not fallen, because the Irish people are completely different to the rest of us. We don't just sit on our arses. Irish people take action, and that's what they're doing right now. There are people out there right now, as I'm speaking, are out defending their communities, right? They're right now defending their communities, right? Where I live right now at the moment, thanks be to God, we don't have that issue right now, right? But half a mile down the road, they do have an issue. So it's getting closer to home, right? But even there, people are out in their communities and are having their voices be heard, right? Because there's some absolute disgusting people moving into their neighborhoods as well, which residents have found out. People that have been arrested for crimes in other countries, right? And so the Ireland hasn't fallen, right? The Irish people are on this, right? You've got Irish people on Twitter, you've got them on Instagram, you've got them on Twitter, right? You've got them online, right? YouTube, right? There's loads of Irish channels on YouTube now, and they're exposing this whole situation of what's going on, what the media isn't reporting, right? And those people, again, they're fighting for their country, right? They're doing their bit. And as I said, they're supporting these people that are out protesting and getting their voices out there for the public to hear what they have to say in the communities, because the media is painting it a different way and saying that all of these communities are down with all of this when that's not the case, right? That's not the case at all. But I have noticed something. Irish people, maybe it's in their DNA, but we seem to be a bit suspicious. Because, I found that very early on, actually, when I was in a spaces, how suspicious people can get. Now, I can understand that, and that's why I just brushed it off. But people are getting suspicious because, they'll see new people all the time. What they don't realize is they're doing a great job. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you're making more people aware. So instead of being suspicious of everybody that comes into spaces or into our circles, get to know those people before you start making quick judgments. Because remember one thing, for us to win this, we need everybody, right? Even people you probably wouldn't even normally talk to, right? That goes out the window. You stand side by side with each other. So all of this suspicion, all of the nonsense that's going on, and I don't say anything about it because it's not really, I'm not, like, I've been doing this for 5.5 years, but obviously from the entertainment point of view, it's only this last year and a half, maybe I've been focusing more and slightly more on what's happening in my own country. But I've been at this for 5.5 years, exposing the indoctrination that's going on in TV shows and stuff. We have talked about the BBC and all the scandals there, and we've exposed all the other stuff that they've been doing. Okay, so we have been talking about it's just now because it's in my country now, and it's there now, and we've got to do something about it, because that's the thing. We can't just sit idly by. And it doesn't matter what your role is in this, whether you speak online to encourage other people to join the movement, or whether it's, you do what Fergus does or the Irish Git does, and all of these other great accounts that are exposing the media and exposing the government scams that are going on. And then you've got journalists like Ben Scallon, who's doing a great bloody job, asking those questions that other journalists won't ask, the questions that a journalist should be actually asking your government, that the media like RT and Virgin Media refuse to ask, right? He's out there asking those questions. And it's startling to me that the people in our government and in governments all over Europe, these are supposed to be all educated people. And yet they've bought into this cult. It baffles me. These are supposed to be all well-educated people. And the people that they think are stupid, i.e. us, are far more intelligent than them and can see what's going on. See, the thing about it is they'll sell their souls, right? You might go in as an honest politician, right? And this is the thing. And this is why I will say to the new people out there that we've supported online that are thinking of running, let's make one thing clear to you though, right? Power can corrupt, right? It's a very powerful thing. And what you guys must do is not let that get the better of you, because we need politicians that care about this country. We need politicians that care about its people and the people's well-being and future generations to come. And that's your job. And this is why we support you, because we believe that you believe what we believe. But we've seen in Italy, and this is why I want to bring it up, a word of warning. We've seen it in Italy right? A perceived party that was for the people. They all voted this party in, thinking that they were getting rid of the bad guys, and then the party that got in ended up then just being like the rest of them, sellouts, because power corrupts. So you've got to stick to your guns. You've got to stick to the beliefs that you have, right? And be clear and concise to everybody what your priorities are, what your beliefs are around the issues that are most important to the people of Ireland, and stick to those. Because, you know, as I said on another stream, what people don't realize is all of these new parties that have come up and about, you know, they're not going to get into government straight away. It's just not going to happen unless sort of miracle happens and everybody, a party that we all like, puts enough candidates in by some miracle and it got in. Absolutely fantastic. But it's not going to happen. That's a pipe dream. This is going to take 2 or 3 elections for one of these parties or these people that we support to establish themselves properly, right? And then that means then, when's there another general election? Next year, right? So the next one then after that is not for another what? What's it? Every 7 years, isn't it? See, from the political point of view, we should have been really taking action the last election gone. But of course, we didn't see this coming. So what you could do, the only thing that you could do is try and just vote who you're voting for. But see, the thing about it is you've got the older generation, right? And the older generation have all traditionally gone either way, right? Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, right? And you, to win, to get to I don't even know how you win this with another party right now. Like, the only party that's viable to win is a party that we all don't want now. But a few years ago, we would have said, give Sinn Féin a chance. But there's no way in hell that we're going to give Sinn Féin a chance now. Right? So they're the only viable option. But they're like the bad guys because they agree with what the other parties want. And Sinn Féin is completely skewed to the left. Completely skewed to the left. I would say they're a radical left party. So, you know, what other party out there, right, that can establish itself that people can trust? And this is the situation we are in Ireland. It's a bit similar to America, though, because they've got the 2 main parties, don't they? We're the same here. We've got all the other little parties, but are any of them really capable? As I said, Sinn Féin is probably the only viable option, but they've skewed straight over to the left. But again, you know, that's why I like the Irish journals here are the ones that are calling out, because you get the bullshit American ones, you know those Andy ones and all of those other, you know, ones that chase people around to get stories, you know, falsely reporting on Ireland. Ireland hasn't fallen, right? And the only reason why it hasn't fallen yet, I say yet, but it won't fall because the Irish people won't allow it to fall. I honestly believe that this whole thing has made the Irish people realize how important our traditions are. Because we have. There's no doubt about it. The people like me know I've never forgotten me roots, me traditions and all of that, right? But a lot have, okay? And that's just the reality of the situation, right? The Irish people are not as patriotic as they would have been back in 1916. That's just the bottom line, right? Or even back before that, right? But this whole situation has changed all of that. People are embracing the Irishness again, and they do believe in their country, and they do love their country. That's the thing. I think a lot of Irish people fell out in love with Ireland because of the way the government have been treating us over these last decades. Even in my mum and dad's time, the governments were a shambles, right? I don't think we've ever had a decent government, to be quite honest with you, because they've all ended up being corrupt. Now, Bertie, Charlie, you know, you go all the way back. I suppose the only one that you could really say that wasn't was what's his face? My dad hated him. My dad hated him. Hold on. I'll get it now. Hold on. I'm going to be embarrassed. But just there's birds flying out everywhere. Right. It was no, it wasn't him. They're presidents. Jesus Christ. There we go. It was, what's his face? Jack Lynch. Jack Lynch. I suppose if you look at him, he was probably the only one that wasn't corrupt. You know, he even forced Charles Haughey out of the party. And then, of course, Charlie got his revenge, didn't he? And I suppose Gerard Fitzgerald as well. But again, Garrett Fitzgerald as well. But I suppose he was just absolutely awful. I remember him. I remember Charles as well, Charlie Haughey. And then, of course, you know, we had Charlie Haughey for a while. Albert Reynolds was a shambles. John Bruton, I mean, he was just boring. Bertie, but we all know where it went with Bertie. Brian Cowan, drunky Brian Cowan at Crow Park. Enda Kenny, oh my God, the man that actually fucked this country up completely. But it did start with Bertie, right? I mean, Enda gets all of the shit, but, you know, it's from Bertie to fucking Enda Kenny there. Sold us out to the banks and the developers there. And then, of course, after Enda Kenny, we have our current Taoiseach, Leo the Leak. And then we had Micheál Martin, because the two parties didn't get enough votes to form their own party. So the two main parties, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, who have, like, you know, who I've always thought are exactly the same, they just pretend they're different. They had to merge together to form a government. And now Leo the Leak is back now as a Taoiseach. So, yeah. So that's where we are. Irish Freedom is your best shout. Ninja Knight has done some great vids on Irish Freedom Party. Yeah, but again, they're not going to be able to establish themselves for another few years. They would have to do phenomenally well in the next run of elections, and I don't. Look, you got to be realistic about this, you know. The only way they could get in the government is if they agreed to do a deal with the devil, because they're not getting in on their own volition, and that's the problem. And then you look at the other parties then, even if they did get most of the votes, right, they'd have to have enough candidates, obviously, for starters, right? How many candidates do they actually have? I mean, it's all well and good saying, oh, you should vote for this party and vote for that party and all of this, right? But you got to find out, and we need to know how many candidates they're actually running. And then, as I said at the start of the stream, they've got to let me know. I'm not just gonna vote for a party because they're called the Irish Freedom Party, right? I'll vote for them based on whether their principles are in line with mine. And if they're not in line with mine, I will look elsewhere. That's the point. And that's the whole point of democracy, actually. You know, freedom of choice. So I'll see what they stand for. I know some of the stuff they stand for, but I want to, it's not, for me, I just don't like parties that, because, you know, we saw people before profit do it. They go after these issues that that mean a lot to the working class to buy votes. And I don't like that shit, right? So I need to know what all of these people stand for. And, you know, what are they going to do to make this country a better place for its people? You know, words are words. Anybody could say words. Words can be very powerful weapons as well. But you got to show me that. And, you know, there's other parties out there as well. And I'm talking about them all, not just that party, but you just got to, you know, we've been burned before. See, this is the thing. This country is stupid in a way, because for years, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, Labour Party, you know, we had the Progressive Democrats at one stage, they were wiped out, and we had other parties as well. But the two main parties were always voted in, right? If one fucked up, we'd give the other one a chance, right? When they fuck up, we go back to the ones that originally fucked up, and we've been doing that for decades, right? And that's what's been happening. And the parties that have came up, right, have never been good enough or have managed to get enough seats to outright take a government by themselves. And the only party that's viable right now is Sinn Féin, as I said, but they've skewed to the left. So I'm hoping Sinn Féin get a lot of damages during the next election. I want Sinn Féin actually out of the South. I'm sick of that propaganda bullshit, right? They talk about uniting the country, but yeah, they're helping to destroy it. Like, and, you know, I would love to see United Ireland. Okay, I think times have changed. I'm not quite sure if everybody up north would agree with that. That for United Ireland, because, you know, that's just the way it is. But I think it is going to become, it is going to happen. But again, Sinn Féin have been using that for decades to try win votes. Listen, right? You need to change tact Sinn Féin. You either do what the people want, or continue to be the traitor sellouts that you are along with the rest of them. But you ain't getting into government. You've screwed your chance now to get into government because you've skewed all the way to the left. You do not represent the people of Ireland. And by the way, before we get into it, there's no right wing of Ireland, right? Bullshit, like everywhere else when people give out about shit that they, you know, or question things, you know, is a right wing, right? I want a party that represents all of us, all of the Irish people, right? That's what we should be striving for. Not a party that benefits a small few, just like it's happened in every other country, where a small minority of the whole human population is pandered to more than any other minority group on the planet. It's absolutely startling. But I will be keeping an eye. Listen, I follow a lot of these people from a lot of these different parties because I'm not going to judge them right now. Their job right now is to convince me that, and everybody else out there, that they're worthy for the vote. Right? So that's what they must do. And as I said, if they are in line with what the Irish people believe and the problems that we want solved, if they're in agreement with us and they want to solve those issues, then let's talk. Simple as that. That's the way it should be. It could go either way, you're right. I do hope it happens. I mean, it's got to. It's got to. And then the good thing about it is the international soccer team will be one. And there's some players that play for Northern Ireland that are actually decent, that we could integrate into an All Ireland team. Get cherry pick the best players from both associations and do what they do with the rugby, man. With the rugby, we've been playing with one rugby team, right? Ireland, and the whole country supports Ireland. Obviously, the people up Northern Ireland that have British flags outside their windows, they'll be following the England rugby team, obviously. But the majority would be following the not the Republic of Ireland, Ireland. Republic of Ireland's the football. And and it's gone great. The players have integrated well. We're actually tipped to win the Rugby World Cup. We've been playing well in the rugby, actually. We've been kicking ass in the rugby. We just kicked England's ass, actually, a while ago, right? And we beat New Zealand. I've got a funny feeling that this could be our time to win the Rugby World Cup and bring it back to Ireland. And then it'll be paraded all around the country. It'll be fucking great. It's what the country needs right now, right? And the lads will go out there and they'll kick ass. I'm pretty sure of it. I have this feeling that this is Ireland's time to win the Rugby World Cup, and I think we can do it. Really do. And I can't wait. Anyway, back to the United Ireland. But again, you could do the same with the soccer team, right? And it'll only make us stronger anyway. Man, I hate this bullshit. I remember the match Ireland versus Northern Ireland where we needed to get a result. And, the Northern Ireland manager was being a bit of a prick, roiling up the bleeding crowd. And, of course, the Irish team was up there. And the atmosphere was bleeding terrible, man. Oh, my God. I remember even watching it on TV, feeling afraid for our players. But anyway, Northern Ireland took the lead, right? And as the results stood, Ireland were not going to make it to the fucking World Cup. It was the World Cup, wasn't it? Yeah, World Cup. And of course, then I think he's no longer with us now, but Alan McManus, not Alan McManus. I keep getting mixed up between him. Why is everybody running between him and the other player? Anyway, he popped up and scored a goal. He did, and we ended up going. Well, actually, we had to wait on the pitch, right? I remember the players having to wait on the pitch to see if they'd made it through, and results went their way, and we ended up going to the World Cup. It was fucking brilliant, man. Man, my childhood was got Ireland. See us growing up. In fairness, though, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say something very controversial. But with the players that we had at that time during Italia '90, I'm being honest with you, probably should have got to the final in that, and that would have been our first World Cup. I mean, you look at the players we had on the pitch. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Jack Charlton. He's a legend as far as I'm concerned. Yes, his football wasn't always attractive, right? And it wasn't. But we did always, when the other team had the ball, Republic of Ireland were one of the first teams, not one of the first teams, but the very few teams that put teams under pressure, right? That's why we had all the song, we put them under pressure, right? That was Jack Charlton's, we got to put them under pressure. And that's what we did. We pressed the ball a lot, and then we'd win the ball high up the pitch. And then, we had some great players up front that we'd end up fucking scoring goals from it. But if Jack had played the way, say, a Pep Guardiola had played with that Ireland team, no messing. That's how good that team. Go back and look at Ireland's team during the Italian 90 and look at the players we had in that squad. I'm telling you now, we had one of the best teams in the world at the time. We really did. But Jack played his style of football that worked for us and got us some great results. Do you know what I mean? Got us to World Cups, European Championship. So we can't knock it. He did get us to tournaments. It's just like when I look at England now, and I look at the players you have, it reminds me of what Ireland had back in the 90s. But we had Jack Charlton, but you have Gareth Southgate. Now, I'm not saying that Jack Charlton is like Gareth Southgate. What I'm saying is the both of them play a conservative style of football, right? Whereas Jack was the genius at it, and the other fella. See, this is the thing. If you've actually got a manager that played attacking football, England would actually win trophies. But you have Gareth Southgate. And I know he did well and he deserved to bring us to the World Cup. But in fairness, you should have sacked him after that, but you kept him. Or you let him decide whether he was going to stay or go, which is unusual. But now you have him as a manager again. Expect England to do well in the group stages, wherever competition they're in, but they won't win it. They won't win it. These won't win it under that manager. These won't win it under that manager. These will come close all the time. And then what will happen is, right, it'll come to a point where the FA will cop on and say, yeah, we have to get rid of him. He's getting rid of him. Then he's bringing an attacking style manager, but then it's too late because most of these players that are in their prime now are past it. And then you don't have the team that you have, and then you are fucked. Then you have to wait. And then we still have to hear you bang on about 66. I mean, this is why most of our nations and most of our fans around the world don't want you to win it. I mean, you've won it once in 66 and he's don't fucking shut up about it. I mean, Jesus Christ, get over it. 66, Jesus. I mean, if we had won the World Cup in 1990, we wouldn't be still banging on about every tournament. Like, we won the World Cup in 1990. We wouldn't give a shit. We'd move on. We're doing shit now. Anyway, we got John Jackrabbit in the chat as well. What times? I've got to keep an eye on the time because I'm over on the other channel now in about 10 minutes time, folks, because the Champions League draw is happening. So if you're a football fan, go over and see me on Noel the Red Devil. I'll be over there in a few minutes. Obviously, I'll have a change of costume. So, yeah, come and join me for that. But yeah, just going back to all the stuff I was just talking about earlier. Just for me, it's important for these smaller parties and these people that want their vote continue to do the good work that they're doing. Because a lot of them are doing good work, and I can see that these people so far mean what they say. As I said, though, it's when they get in there, will they then follow through with it? And that will be, we'll have to wait and see on that, I suppose. But I just want them to keep doing what they're doing, highlighting the issues, highlighting the scams that are going on with their government, and keep up the good work. And then when it comes to the time that you guys need our vote, then we'll decide if you are worthy. As a Scot, I mute the commentary, says Scottish Davros and friends wrestle with pop culture. Hopefully, if we get, if we get Celtic in our Champions League group, I'd be a bit worried, to be quite honest with you, because right now I just don't know what's happening with my fucking football team. But it'll be nice though, because it'll be a nice little bit of banter between me and Daniel. So let's hope we do. Because we definitely banter each other anyway. I know that for a fact. But yeah, come and join me over. I think I have a set for 5 to 5, actually, 5 minutes before the draw starts. So head over to the other channel now. And get into the chat because I have it up already. So do that, and I'll be with you shortly. To the rest of you guys, I will be back tomorrow. As you know, there's no member stream tomorrow. We have pushed that until the weekend. Tomorrow we will be back at 9 o'clock for Friday night contact. We'll be streaming for an hour because tomorrow a busy day on the other channel as well, because we've got the end of the transfer window. So I'll be doing an afternoon stream. I'll probably do another stream then just to do a quick update, and then at 10:30 we'll be doing the last hour and a half of the transfer windows, and then I will be giving you my Premier League top 4 prediction. Who's going to go down the bottom 4 or the bottom 3? Who's going to get relegated? And basically I'll guess. I'll try guess the where teams will end up in the Premier League. So yeah, come and join me for that as well. So plenty going on over the weekend, and of course we do have the live match reaction. Of course, we are playing Arsenal this weekend, and you know what? At the start of the season, when we did pre-season, I was very confident that we could do a number on Arsenal. But the way we started the season, the injuries that we've already picked up already, I am worried about this game. The best we can hope for is that we don't get hammered and we can either nick a win or get a draw. But I'm pretty sure we'll probably get beaten. I'm not messing. I actually expect us to be hammered in this game. Eric Ten Hag, in my opinion, I still support him, and I would never call for him to go unless it's absolutely necessary. But his tactics to me this season have puzzled me, especially the way we played during pre-season. We were actually very good. We were passing the ball around. We zipped it around. We pressed the ball. We looked very impressive. I don't know whether he's overtraining the players or whether there was too many games in pre-season. That's not the start to the season that I was expecting. And we look miles off right now. And right now, I'm actually worried about our club. And apparently, we're trying to get loan deals over the line because we're absolutely broke. We can't buy any more players, apparently, now. And we're trying to get loan deals. We're trying to bring in midfielders and another striker now. Apparently, the news has turned now. Apparently, we are looking at another striker, and we're looking at other loan deals. I mean, it's an absolute shambles. But join me over on the other channel anyway, and we'll talk a little bit more about that before the Champions League draw. We'll be covering the whole draw, of course. I'll be giving me a reaction to each group, and then I'll give me opinions based off the groups who I think is going to go through in those groups. So we'll do a little prediction as well. So come and join me in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Okay. See you tomorrow. And then I'll see the rest of you then over the weekend. And the members as well. I'll see you over the weekend as well. So enjoy the rest of our evening. And I'll talk to you tomorrow on this channel. And for the rest of you, I will see you over on the Man United channel. And I'm better go now. I'm getting a brain freeze. Bye-bye.